plugging in. What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Hangout with Adam and Ryan. And tonight we have a different show for you. First of all, you're going to see us on a little bit of a different camera angle, so I'm going to get into that in just a second. So what's up? I'm Adam, anonymous. We are going to plug into Ryan because he is in a remote location, and we're going to get some really good retrospective of 2023. Before we get into the show and we plug in with Ryan, I wanted to show a couple things that we were going to talk about across the show. Some of the things that were really cool that we've done this year and things that we've been really proud of. So without further ado, let's just start with the 3D printing aspect. We started this show with the idea that 3D printing was cool. Ryan always asked, we're going to keep up with the 3D printing, and for the most part, yeah, we've been able to keep up with it. It's just little side things that we've done, but we put a lot of effort into our game, which we'll talk about in just a second. But before we go forward too much, let's take a look at some of the stuff that we've been printing this last year, or just some of the hobby work that we've been doing over in the studio. So we got a couple things over here, not this hobby, but jumping in, we got these nice mics. Well, they look nice. Suspect on the quality of sound, and you're listening to it now, so we'll get into that in a little bit. Now, I didn't make this cup, but I did make a little holiday Santa lid. I'm sure that's not safe. You don't want to swallow that, so if you make one of those, be careful. So that's an example of just like a little thing. Got some of these for the holidays, wanted to make some cool caps, so we did that. This was just a standout that I made this year, and it looks like a standard thing. You can put like a camera mounted on, almost like one of those GoPro kind of mounts on it. The difference though is that this material it's bendy. This is TPU, so this is a really grippable handle, very durable material. So I had to print it standing up. It's a fairly tall print there for some TPU for a really handy thing. So working with different filaments, that was one of the things we did this year. Of course, you get some cool filament. Last year, Talon got us this multicolor filament that I wanted to show off. Just I think this was one of the first prints we did just to see what it was. But we do some calibration prints, make sure things are running well. So this PLA was looking great this last year as we started the year out. Of course, we do a little bit of statues. I was actually I got this particular one to just spin out the rest of a spindle of things, so it was good to be able to get that one out. But as an example, this is just to kind of see how tall things are going. Everything's kind of holding itself together on the 3D printing front, so that's awesome. One of the other things that we've been that I've been working on, and Ryan has seen some of the results of it, is we built the Raspberry Pi, and it wasn't like a lot of like crazy amount of building. We had to put some heat sinks on there and screw some pieces on, and then turn it on and play with it. And we're going to play with this more on the show as we go into the new year on some of the different episodes that we have, because we'd like to get this plugged in and do some different things, like plug it into ChatGPT and things like that. I'm gonna put that one over there. Here are just some of the cables that came along with that. I did not 3D print this or this. We're going to talk about it in a second. So these little guys right here are 3D printed cable clips. So you can see that there's like a cable that's maybe like right here with this, and it's a way for me to cable clip them together. So just little examples of things that I've been working on. I needed to rise this little guy up a little bit, so I went ahead and measured some things and made these nice little clips that give it up that little bit of extra lip that I needed for a project I was working on that was going to have that little laptop holder. But one of the cool things that you're going to see more on the show is this Ozbot kind of mini PTZ camera. That's actually what we're working on today. So if you're looking at this little Ozbot, you see it zooming around. We still have our typical angle that we work on, and we're going to get to that one in a little bit, but we wanted to just enter into this new realm of being able to do something kind of cool with the work we might do if we're playing a board game, if we're doing something with our hands on this table. We're going to use this Ozbot. So we'll talk a little bit about that later in the show, what you think, what my thoughts are on it so far. It's okay. It's a great way to kind of look at things. So One of the last things I wanted to show before we get into the bulk of the show and plug into Ryan is what we've been doing this last year. This is the last episode of the year. We had plugged in at the very first episode of the year and decided to make a board game. A board game using AI. So, did we do it? Were we successful? I would say we were successful because as of this moment, we do have a fully functional, 3 printed out Frostbite: The Curse of Dr. Frost board game. So, as you see it right here is a physical copy of the board game that we started the year out as in our minds and on ChatGPT, and we spent a copious amount of time working to create what you see here. So we did a playthrough last episode. That was a great time. We were able to come together, really test play it. We are at a great point where this is the state it's at. You can get this at printables.com. Go to doubledropdown.com if you want to go ahead and download this and get some links to where this is at. Fun game. It is an amazing place to hang out with the family and have this horror sci-fi Christmas game. So there you have it all. This has been one of these new setups that we've been working on back over here on the show, so that we have some other angles. And so here I am sitting at that same table on the show outside of the regular studio. So we're going to be using this space a lot more. I think Ryan and I can kind of hang out here, and when we start working on bigger projects, we'll be using the space here. But before that, I think we need to go get into the studio and work with Ryan, because he is going to want to talk about his retrospective of this last year. So let's go ahead and get in there, and let's start it out with... All right. So we are in the studio. Oh, welcome back. This is a nice seat. I like this. We got a little new name card down there as well. So this is good for us to see. What we're going to do tonight is we're going to take a retrospective. We're going to go back through a lot of the things that we've been doing this last year. You saw the start of the show. You saw some of the cool stuff. We will be putting up that link on the channel. So without any further ado, I think what we need to think about is like getting Ryan into the show. Got to get him plugged in. And we're going to go in hot. This guy has been off on vacation. And I think, how many shows have I missed? I don't think I've missed many. Maybe one. But let's just jump into it right now. Let's see if I'm going to plug right into this guy. And we are going to start her up. Here we go. And Ryan, are you ready for this? Okay, buddy. Let's get going. Yeah. Well, welcome to the show. This is the double
wait,
drop
whoa,
down,
we're just starting?
the hangout.
We're just starting right now?
We're going right in, bro. Anything we talk about is show worthy moving forward. We're on this call. You're out in vacation right now. Where are you at?
So I'm in North Carolina, visiting family and everything like that. And fortunately and unfortunately, we're all going to the Beetlejuice play.
That's
tonight.
fortunate. That is fortunate.
which is awesome, because I heard that is cool. Are you drinking whiskey at 8 a.m.?
Hey, this is the evening. I don't know what you're talking about, Ryan. This is live on Thursday night. So welcome to the show. It's great having you tonight. Oh, that was a great one, Mike Azul.
I love it. Yeah, we're playing to the crowd, even when the crowd's not there. You gotta keep them involved.
Yeah, you gotta get it going. No, so anyhow, that's cool. You're in a new room. I'm over in a room, and we're doing the show.
The classic room.
This is a cool way to do it. Because we still got to be going through this. There's no editing of this. I'm not editing shit today.
No,
we are going forward on this. No. That's what makes this nice, is that we basically can go in and we try to make it as good as possible as we navigate it.
Exactly. Well, and the reason that we wanted to do this is because I'm super excited, because like some days, sometimes Ryan just misses a Thursday show, or Adam misses a Thursday show, and we have to shoot it solo or with somebody else. But the reason that I wanted to record this for sure is because this is sort of like our end of the year wrap up show.
It's the wrap up.
And Haas 2023 and welcome the wonderful year of 2024 into our lives. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's the thing. Hey, what are you doing for New Year's when we talking about that too? That's a good point. This is the end of this show. We're going to be going to the New Year's. What are you doing for New Year's Eve?
So I don't know. I know our friend Jeremy is coming into town from
Oh,
Texas, which
when we may know
he's
more
coming
by this point.
after Christmas. So he's spending, Christmas in Texas and then coming afterwards, which is cool because I rarely get to see him, and so I was like, "Huh, he might be doing some sort of New Year's Eve thing." But if that's not the case, I'll see him some. We could see him some other day, and I'm open.
I'm thinking maybe live stream countdown, possibly. I don't know. Depends on where I'm at because I don't have any plans, and I got this new
That's
room,
true.
and I could do a live stream countdown, or even have people over, and we could do it at all
Oh
together.
man,
So,
right? Like a hangout at the
uh huh,
bar.
uh huh. All right,
Oh man,
so
I'm
keep
into it.
keep that in mind. Well, in any case, we have a lot to go through today, and I appreciate what you did. You came up with a great list of questions that we can
So
go through,
yeah,
right?
so part of these, well, so yeah, go ahead if you want to set it up, and then
Well,
I can
yeah, the
explain.
setup is that as we got into this year end, we've been talking the last couple weeks and saying, what have we been doing? We should do something good in regards to all the things we've accomplished this year, or just the cool things that have happened to us or outside of us, and just talk about them and say, what are the favorite things? What are the things that were not so favorite? And kind of go through a list of questions together and share that with you tonight. And so I
Yeah.
appreciate it because they came out and it got me thinking. I was like, oh man, I got to answer questions. And then I got into them and I was like, yeah, I remember that or this thing. And then I
Well,
needed to
and
talk to
I
you
feel like
about
it's
them.
totally, and I feel like it's good to there's sometimes where it's like good to reflect, right? To look back on a time and be like, what were you excited about? What helped? What weren't you excited about? I did source some of these from other podcasts. I sourced some from ChatGPT. I just came up with some of them based on like what I knew that you and I were into, and came up with like what there's probably like a dozen
Yeah,
different things here, different categories. And I wanted to make sure that I saw none of what Adam wrote down, and hopefully Adam didn't click into my Trello card that had all of my answers written
I
on
read
it.
everything that he's
Damn
got.
it! You're like, I have to be prepared. I'm the
I
producer
no,
of
I
this show.
seriously, I did not see a single thing. So it's coming to me fresh. I had no time to read your scrawlings. I figured
Nice.
I'd hear them now.
Some of them I feel like are more geared towards Adam, and some of them are more geared towards me. And so I feel like we'll some there might be bigger parts where like Adam talks about a whole section of 3D printed stuff or
Yeah,
something, and
or maybe not.
then nice. Okay, should we get started? I'm
Yeah,
I'm
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 ready
raring.
to jump into this. And
Do you just
so
want to do them in the order that I
I
put on
I
the
think we can
card?
go down the order, and then if we need to jump back and around and talk about little things and stories and pieces, I think that's perfect. So
Hey,
honestly,
wait. Oh, look, before we get started,
hey, it's
it's Catherine
Kathy.
jumping in on
What
the
is going
show.
on?
Merry
Catherine.
Christmas!
Merry Christmas with a huge cup of delicious whatever that is.
Here,
Cheers.
huge cup of what? Not coffee,
Cheers.
but something. Wait, get in this screen, Catherine.
Oh,
You have to.
Yeah.
That's what.
There you go. The
There you
little
go.
like
So like
cha-ching.
Adam's drinking whiskey,
whiskey?
but
In the
because it's at
morning?
night. No, it's at night. This is going out live,
Mm-hmm.
not in the evening when as we
Ah,
always
man, what a good day that was today.
do. Nice.
Well,
All right, we're just getting started, so beat it. Unless you want to get some headphones on.
Oh, I would, but we'll never guess.
You left all of your Christmas clothes at the mall. Classic.
oh, Christmas clothes.
Kathy's mom took us out Christmas, like, didn't buy us as many presents, but was like, I will just take you to the mall and buy you clothes, whatever clothes you want. And so we went and did that, and Kathy bought like all of these clothes and then left them in the bathroom.
Oh
Yesterday.
no! Did you get
What
them?
was that? It wasn't that many clothes, apparently.
Did you get them back? No.
Yeah, they found them.
Ah,
They just got to go over and get them.
nice. All right, first question.
Yes.
The first, and I'm going in the order that it
But
was
of course,
given.
it was the nicest stuff I bought.
The nicest stuff, of course.
Oh, yeah, you don't want that nice stuff left in a bathroom there. All right. Do you remember? So the first question that I saw was coolest thing you bought in 2023.
Coolest thing you bought in 2023. What do you what I feel like this is more of an Adam question because Adam buys a lot more. When I wrote this, I was like, what cool things that I buy? And I have a very short list.
Well, you
here.
should go.
But I feel
then.
like Adam buys super cool things.
I not very, but I have one cool thing that came in last minute that I do want to talk about because it's gonna be awesome for the show.
Yeah, like it's gonna blow your mind. Okay, I had a couple things.
All right.
One thing that I haven't even got yet, but I'm hoping is cool, is that Razer Kaio Pro Ultra, which is like a webcam. So instead of this like crappy webcam, there's this Razer one. It's like this big. It has a huge.
And so
sensor
you haven't
in
got it yet?
We haven't got it. I haven't
so
got it.
so it's
at
made
our
your
house.
coolest things, but
I know.
you haven't got
well,
it yet.
and I mean, obviously, I haven't got it, or I wouldn't have brought this camera that's capturing me so poorly. But anyway, I like huge sensor, and I was looking at what cameras that I could shoot basically this show, and also I work from home, so I have a camera that I'm represented with at work, and I was like, I need one, but Adam bought a camera and it makes sense for him. He bought a camera that he can like also take out and use as a cool, camera out in real life. But like Kathy has she's a photographer. She has a bunch of cool cameras. Like I'm never going to take it out of its little stand and take it around. So I didn't want to spend the extra money to have like a form factor that would work outside. So I was just like, I just need a kick-ass webcam. And these ones seem like the biggest one. It's like huge. So it has this giant sensor. So it brings in tons of light. Tons of great color. So we'll see.
And it was because I have it in the studio now.
Did you buy the Pro? Did you buy the Ultra or the Pro?
It was, I think, the Ultra. It was like $90, the one that I got.
Yes. So that's the Pro. Not to try to boast up mine or anything like that. But I am getting the Ultra, which is $300.
Yes, that's the one I heard. So Kaya Ultra. Wow, he's a big spender, folks. There he is.
Oh yeah. It was the one thing I had that was cool. No, okay, so that was cool.
We can look at
it. I'll just do two other ones super quick.
We wanna see Ryan's
full screen Ryan for these hot
we could do it that way, or we could go look. And is this the camera you got?
That's the camera I got. That would be good. You should bring up the things that we're talking about.
I'm gonna bring up people now. Let's see with these pop-ups if I could bring you up, because I think that would work. Look at that.
Hey,
Ryan is in there. Kathy hanging out in the background of Ryan's review. All right, we're bringing this stuff up for Ryan. So what do we got, Ryan?
Okay, so I just thought that looked cool. It almost doesn't show how big it is in this like product shot.
No,
it's like the size of a baseball. As opposed to like what you would typically think as like a very small. I almost picked up my webcam to show it to the webcam, and then I was like, right, it's the thing that's recording.
It's called a mirror. Get one. No.
It's called a mirror. Yeah, right. Here we go.
Oh.
See that's the webcam that I have
look
right
at that
now.
back.
The Logitech, the classic Logitech.
Yeah. Well, that's great. So what else?
So the next one that I had was reusable water balloons, which I feel like was a very cool
water balloons. Ryan's
have you heard of these?
No.
So it's like a thin silicon, two halves of a sphere, and then it has a thin magnetic strip around each sides of the half, and then when you put it together, it goes thunk, and it makes like a silicon ball. And then when you have it in the water, you just in a pool or whatever, you just put it in the water and like snap it together underneath the water, and then you have what is ostensibly a water balloon in your hand, and then you could throw it at people and catch it and stuff, and it explodes just like a water balloon, right? Because it comes apart and all the water comes out, but then you can reuse it and just put it back into the water. You can take it to the pool and everything. Super cool for kids. I found those to be super fun this summer, and so we bought a whole bunch more.
And this is for children, is what you're saying?
For children.
All right, let's
And
see.
then the last one, I'm gonna do
Wait,
one
wait,
last one because I
wait.
want to get to Adam's super cool
We
things.
well, my cool things aren't as cool. We need to look at these water balloons. So
Okay,
hold
fine.
on a
You want
second.
to bring? We should have made like a slideshow for all
Oh,
of these
we're
things.
making it live right now. We didn't want to
We're
like look at this.
live
Look
producing.
at this
Yeah,
one. Is that it?
that's it. And yeah, you can see where it has the seam, right? And then it
Uh-huh.
just sort of explodes apart. I thought it was like an amazing invention in water balloon tech.
It would water balloon tech.
Because you know what the last big invention in water balloon tech was?
Oh my god, what's that, Ryan?
Where it has a whole bunch of little straws that have the ends of the water balloons on them, and then they hook onto
Oh
the
yeah, and you
hose
can
on the
do a whole
outside.
bunch
And
of
you
them
screw
at
them
once.
in, and then it blows up all the water balloons. Now, one, those don't work for this shit.
And
I
two, it's
apologize.
such a waste because it's a one-time thing for this. I guess you could
One time
reload it.
thing is plastic everywhere. Half of them don't even fill up correctly and bust out anyway, and then you can never use them again because they're very specifically designed to be on those little sticks and fill up in that way. It's like those are terrible. This is a positive development in water balloon tech.
the the hippie version of you can go water things.
Exactly. Save some plasma, save the planet. But
Oh,
consume more stuff.
that's great. Okay, well, Ryan had some great ones. Reusable water balloons. All right, that's great. Anything else? What was the next
So
one?
the only last one is I did use HubSpot this year. I don't know if you've heard of HubSpot, the CRM.
Oh, I had not. Oh yeah, actually have heard it. Yes.
Yeah, it's just like
Personal.
a marketing and sales CRM that is crazy expensive, but we got it for this like 90% off for a year because we were using it as like a startup for Network Leader.
Mm.
And it just shows how much data you have on everyone that contacts your website or interacts with you in any sort of way. It is creepy and made me not want to click on any marketing emails or interact with anything that could trace me and do things because it was weird. It was weird to see that and to see how granular you can get on the information about people and to try to get them into some sort of sales funnel or
Is
whatever. And
this?
now I recognize myself as in parts of funnels and I hate it.
You hate it. You could
You
see
know,
you
it's
could
just
see the
like,
marketing behind it. Did you know
when
that
once you peek behind the curtain, you
I
can't unsee
studied
it.
that? That was my undergrad. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Like a lot of my
Well,
thing was like marketing and PR and getting those funnels and understanding
see,
that.
and you know what? Like, it's really interesting to think about that because when you and I were in there was no crazy HubSpot CRM with like all of these levels of tracking that they have right now.
Right.
So like, it was like it's like you grew up and we grew up like in the analog more. I mean, it was still digital. It was still digital, but it wasn't as pervasive, I feel like.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. But yeah, I mean, we were just getting on the cusp of it. But yeah, it gets crazy at this point. I remember us
Yeah.
having to like remember a URL to get to a website before search engines. Do you remember that in high school? I
Like you
remember
had
that.
to know the exact
You
URL.
had to know the exact URL. There was not an easy way to get there, or really primitive search engines and like Ask or
Totally.
Ask Jeeves and all that kind of stuff was
Oh man.
before
Amazing.
Google.
And now ChatGPT is taking over search.
Yeah.
So we'll
Well,
see how that goes.
coolest things I bought, I would have
Yeah.
said is ChatGPT, and it's like full
Okay.
version. So I'm just gonna
Totally.
get that out of the. We experienced that on the show. So cheers to ChatGPT and them doing some cool stuff. And I use the heck out of it as an assistant. I use it as an assistant. I've decided at the end of the day that that's the best thing. I do not
Totally.
trust 100% the way it outputs, but it's like it gives me a way to like play with my brain in a way that's faster. And I call it rapid prototyping my brain. I have a prompt that says, "Hey, I just need you to help with some ideas of this concept that I came up with. Do that." And then it rapid
Nice.
prototypes, and then I'm like, "Great, those are some great ideas." And then I think my way down some of those other paths, and it helps. So
Ooh, I'll be
ChatGPT.
interested to hear about your predictions for 2024 with ChatGPT and
Yeah,
stuff.
and I have some. I don't know. It feel like I've not been plugged in deep enough, but based off my, yeah, I will give you those.
Yeah.
So I only have really one. There's multiple things I bought this year, and I
Yeah.
don't really buy a lot of stuff that's like a thing. Like I buy parts to make things. So I spent a lot of time since Thanksgiving buying cables, cords, and like connectors and adapters for this stream kit that I did. And so
Yeah.
I swear there are like at least 100 or so different cables and little parts and pieces that I just put into this thing to make it the ultimate thing that I could possibly do for streaming. So it's awesome, and I had a lot of fun doing that, and I'm still tweaking it and putting little things in it. But the final kind of coup de grace that I think was awesome, and you haven't even seen it yet, is I got a camera. And just a quick funny story is I wanted to get this thing called an OBSBot. And so I went online and I found this one, and it's a little PTZ camera. And so I'm going to put it on the screen. This is the one that I actually got. So let me get this guy going on here. And so this one is the OBSBot.
Ooh.
And so what's cool about it is it's a PTZ pan tilt zoom. I bought this other version of it that was a little cheaper, and it came in and I was like, wait a second, no, I want the AI powered one. I did good this year. I should like get the AI powered one because this would be really good for the show. And so this is the one.
Wait, were you trying to talk smack about me spending $300 on my webcam when yours is a $329 webcam?
Yeah. And I got to tell you something else. I didn't just spend it on this. So there was this part. And I'm not saying that I spent all this money because there were some sales that I got for like Black Fridays and things like that. But I got this other part where it doesn't have to plug into a computer, and it can plug directly into an HDMI. So it is a PTZ that goes into this little like hub thing that comes out HDMI, and you can plug it into anything without using a computer. So it makes this thing amazing and awesome.
Where do you have this set up?
Right in the bar.
house?
Right in the bar. I feel like I could show it on camera, but maybe I'll have to do that. One of the things that's so cool about this, Ryan, and I wasn't 100%. I was like, AI powered, yeah, whatever. I want this cool, like I want a nice looking PTZ. I actually really like what this AI thing does, and we're going to see it soon on the show. One of the things is it can track you. And so there's these gestures that you do. And I was like, not even into the gestures. I was like, I need to buy the controller because this stupid AI thing isn't going to work. Works amazingly. I was like, yo.
What are some of the gestures?
So if I go like this, it will automatically lock in and say I should track Adam. And then it will get onto my face, and I can walk all the way around the room, and it's tracking me the whole time. Cool. The other gesture is you do this, and you can zoom it in and out, and so the camera will zoom in and out on your face.
Cool. That's cool.
And then if you do that, you can like stop it again so that it stops that thing. And then there's a few other ones, like if you just do this, it resets itself.
Like a cut?
Yeah. Cut. And that's it. So what it does is it makes things really awesome. So we'll have to play when we played the board game, I used my phone and through this like complicated setup, and it went black at the last couple minutes of it, and I had to switch to another angle. And I was like, fine. I tried to use what I had, and then I wanted to get one of these. So I got that.
Did you get any board games for Christmas or anything like that?
I did not get any board games. No. Did you get any board games?
I think the children got some board games but I don't want to say anything because we haven't done official our Christmas until we get back.
You haven't you haven't done your Christmas. I see how it is.
I mean, we did sort of like grandma and grandpa Christmas, but we can't haul all those presents to North Carolina and then all the way back.
Well, in any case, yeah, I would say like that is the coolest thing, and you haven't seen it yet, and when you see it, I think it's going to be a game changer, because one of the things I want to do is I could put a whiteboard up now on a wall and have it zoom in on that, and I wanted to do some more like educational leadership sessions or something like that, and like it would be really awesome. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Absolutely would. Okay, should we move on to the next?
Yeah,
let's
keep going. We could how long have we been going already?
I know, right? It's like we've already been going for 25 minutes. We're off the first one.
And we can rapid fire a couple of these. So
all right,
go. What was the next one? Best book
or podcast in 2023.
So
I don't know why I sort of combined these two together, just because it felt like I don't know,
learning.
Like long form reading or consuming.
So I could do a rapid fire on this one, and maybe because you tend to have better podcast experiences, and you can end up on this one. So I took book, and I took two personal, one personal, one professional. Personal, The Making of Prince of Persia. That's the Jordan Mencher journals. I thought that was a good one. I read it in like a day or two. It was gifted to me by Mike Azul, and it was really it was an awesome read. That was good just to see like the making of a game, a very simple game, and how it went through all these different steps. And he was just living his life, making this cool game. So love the story, love how it was written in journals format. That was my personal.
Ooh, I have a suggestion for you. So there's a game on Steam called Karateka, or it's like the making of Karateka,
Oh yeah,
and it's this old Atari game or
he
something
made
or
it.
computer game. What
Jordan
was
Mencher
that?
made it.
Oh, see, and
That's his
so
game he made before Prince of Persia.
so then what you should do is there's a game called The Making of Karateka, and it's a game that you play, but it tells the entire story of it's like a documentary game that you
I'm
play.
gonna get that. That's an awesome suggestion. The Making of
Yeah.
Karateka on what is it? Steam?
I think it's on Steam. I mean, just Google that, but like
I'll check that
you'll
out
find out
because
where it's at.
it was a really good book, and he had mentioned there was some prior stuff, but he had made that game like a fighting game, and that's what got him in the position to make Prince of Persia. So
Oh,
that's
see, this is a perfect companion piece
perfect
to your.
tie-in. Professional book was one called Deep Work by Cal Newport,
Okay.
and that one was really cool just because when we talk about books, and I'm gonna cut over. Let's see here. I don't know how these things work there. There it is. Deep Work. Let's do it with this camera. So it was cool because deep work is about focusing in a distracted world, and I'm just going to give a quick plug for it because I think it's important. Is that we tend to in this society like live by our emails. We go in, we are constantly being interrupted on our phones, and we're just moving through our life and doing things that are called the shallows. And so in the shallows, when you're living in there, you're not scraping the depth of what your brain can do and what you can actually perform and create and run on. And so this book kind of talks about these different folks and different careers and different kind of professions and how they've gotten into deep work. And it goes to extremes where like some people like, I don't have an email and I only don't ever check it because if I'm writing 100 little emails to individuals, but if I spend all that time on writing just a book, I'm going to impact millions of people because I'm going to make this like
Right.
really good resource. Anyways, it gets into that concept and then how you might apply it and the kind of person you are and the ways that you get to deep work in a hardened kind of world anymore. Great work. It kind of changed the way that I approach the way I do work. And so it might be something that you would appreciate at some point. Those are my
Well,
those are my top for the day.
so I think what is interesting about that deep work concept is it also leads to burnout, right? Like if you're only doing shallow work all day, then like it doesn't feel satisfying and it feels like you're working yourself to death for no reason,
Oh
right? And
yeah.
so then you're like, that's when people burn out too. And it's why I think it would be so interesting once we get to the point where everyone has that sort of EA, right? Like an executive assistant, basically, that is ChatGPT or whatever with some sort of generative thing. That generative is answering all of those emails and doing all of that shallow work for you. And one thing that's interesting is like I do some side design work for like a big international corporation that like I won't say what it is, but like it's this big corporation, and like there's a data scientist that I know who works there, and he has me do little infographics for them that are like internal to the company, and it talks about the data that they get from their people analytics, and like one of the things that they're really focusing on is like how much deep work people do during the day and what time do you have that is uninterrupted, and they want to try to get people to have at least 2.5 hours of uninterrupted time. And uninterrupted means you literally don't get a single
Oh
notification
yeah.
from
Yeah, that's
Slack, right? Like you don't even, the thing doesn't even ping up where you get an email during that time, or it ruins your thing because you're like, oh, now I'm distracted and now I'm moving over here and now I'm trying this or now I'm answering things. And so they want like more of that deep work because it gives so much. I mean, companies should want that, but it's set up to be not like that. And like all companies are set up for you to be constantly distracted and multitasking. And like that's not deep. That's so shallow that like it's not
You
actually
gave me
like bringing anything to the
gave me an
company.
idea, dude. It's like, because why does that happen? An email comes in and you get distracted. Why can't it be like, hold these emails? I don't even want to know that I got them until
Yeah,
like 11 o'clock or whatever. And then it's
right.
like, boom, they all show up at 11, but
Well,
it holds back. That would be awesome.
and like some tech companies are doing things where they will say like you are only like we have working quote unquote working hours, which is when collaboration time happens, when questions are answered back and forth between people, and that's between 11 and 2. And if you then you can work whenever you want, like do and literally ignore everyone and not think about it up to 11 and have no meetings and respond to no one. But then from 11 to 2, like you, or 11 to 3 or whatever, like you have to respond to things, and that's when meetings are. And then after 3, like that's when you have your own set time.
I
So there's
love
like
that.
lots of cool stuff going on with like experiments with these types of things.
Well, and that's what that book gets into, and so Cal Newport's this PhD that's like studied this thing and like the different atmospheres you have to be in to be able to get into deep work. And one of the things is you get the concept like super quick within the first quarter of the book. You're like, I get it. Yeah, I got to get more deep work.
You're like, why am I reading
Totally.
the rest of this?
And then the rest of it goes into like it's way more about being intentional and how you schedule. Like you can't just be like, I'm doing deep work every day at 11. Turn off my thing.
Right.
Like there's these strategies dependent on like the career you're in and like the way that you are as a human that get you there. And so it was like, how do you maximize it so that neuroplasticity in your head is like changed to be able to like get into this mode quicker? Like he was going from the point of like one journal peer reviewed thing a year to like 10 of them, and they were showing how like people can do these ways that they talked about the Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling, and how she had to like go to this one like place and just lock herself away and like just work on the damn thing and then like get it through. And that's not what everyone can do. You can't just be like, yep, I'm going to this like sweet penthouse for like
Sure.
2 months and I'm going to write my book. You can't do it that way.
Nice. That's a good one. I feel like that is on my my Libby audiobook app right now.
Like audiobook that one. That's a great audiobook. It's 8 hours.
Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna tell you one of my work ones.
All right.
I liked this actually came out in 2022, the very end of 2022, but I read it in 2023, I think. 4,000 Weeks, Time Management for Mortals. And that's another good one where it's just like, hey, we all have 4,000 weeks in our lives. And when you start looking at things in the sense of like, what do you put your attention towards, and how do you schedule your time of what you're actually doing? If you start breaking it down by like, hey, like my parents are getting older, our parents are getting older, right? You're like, you might only have literally like 8 weekends left with your parents, right? Or something, like I might, because they live far away, right?
Right,
So
right.
does Kathy's parents. And so when you start thinking about that, like you think about it in more sort of like being intentional about it. So anyway, I won't get into too much of that one.
No.
Also a good one. Also a very quick audio book. Same thing, probably 8 hours. Okay, do you have fun ones or personal ones?
I already did my personal. Remember, it was the making of Prince of Persia.
Oh, that's right.
So,
okay, I have some personal ones. Okay,
yeah,
so
go for it.
Wool is a book that definitely did not come out in 2023.
Yeah, you read it though in 2023.
But I read it in 2023.
That's important
because the Apple Plus TV show called Silo came out this year. And so we watched Silo and we were like, that was a great thing. Let's all listen to the book all together. So we listened to a lot of books on tape in the car as we drive around with kids. And so we listened to Wool all the way through. And I'm going to say we have further down what was one of your biggest disappointments of the year. And after watching Silo and then reading the book Wool, I'm going to say one of my biggest disappointments is Silo. Because it doesn't do the book justice, I don't feel like, at all.
Oh, I didn't even see it or know anything about any of that. What is this?
Sci-fi book. You know, a
Okay.
very fun sci-fi concept.
Okay.
I feel like. Podcasts? Did you have any podcasts?
So, because of the nature of what I do, I tend to be more on that professional side with what I listen to and what I watch. So, yeah, I know. But
fine.
but if I'm a nerd about it, like I kind of actually like it. Like I feel like this is a part of me that I've gotten better at because I've been learning about it.
I was just teasing you.
I know you are. It's all good. And it's funny because when you approach leadership, in my perspective, it's like, what the fish is that? And I've learned more about it, and like it's like a practice of using and like working with people and understanding how you can be like, all right, I need you to do this and this, and we're gonna work together to make this happen. And it was hard for me initially because I didn't know how to do that. I was like in the design phase and being able to do all the doing, and to be able to like transition into using relationships and being intentional and making all these other things. There's this great podcast that I've been listening to like as I drive up and down I-25 corridor. It's called No Bullshit Leadership, by this guy named Martin Moore. He was a CEO of this technology company in not technology, but a power company in Australia, and has this whole kind of background, and like 20-minute like riffs on like, here's how it is, and like it's called No Bullshit Leadership. So I like the fact that they lean into that, and it sounded like they were just like pretty small. They were like, I just want to give some leadership tips, and then it got very popular, and then they moved through it. So really cool things if you're interested in learning a little bit on that spectrum and moving
fun Australian accent.
Hell's yes. Hell is yes. And then he also has this daughter that comes in the same thing, so totally makes it worth it because of all of that. And like usually that stuff's boring is crap, and like sure. I guess this last year I realized like, hey, there's a whole bunch of learning that you can do even in your profession that's hella fun, and then like they're fun with it. They don't make it boring. So No Bullshit Leadership by Martin Moore was my podcast of the 2023.
Okay, I have two. One I have talked about before, which is the Hard Fork podcast from the New York Times.
Okay, yeah,
I'm pissed that Adam has not listened to this at all.
I've listened to this.
Okay, you have.
I have listened to this.
So I feel like the Hard Fork podcast does a great job of like they have done the exact same thing that we have done, which is basically like became a AI podcast, you know, and they talk about that at their end of the year show. They were like, you know, it feels like we become an AI podcast. Like, what is that about? And they're like, well, that's the most interesting thing that is happening in, you know, technology right now. And that's kind of how I feel about it, especially with arts and technology, which is where like our show comes into play. So anyway, that is an amazing show. They are like kick-ass journalists as well. So it's like Adam and Ryan if we had gone into journalism as opposed to
oh my god, I did do a little,
which is like I feel like super fun.
Yeah.
So that's a really good one. The other one that I will say is another New York Times podcast, just because I'm a New York Times nerd, and it's called The Run Up, which is a great podcast. I can't remember the name of the host, but they do these like they only do it for like certain runs of the year, and it is a politics podcast, but it's like it goes very deep into like interviewing people, and it's really good about looking at both sides, because I feel like, or just like digging into what each sides of these, you know, and it's not the talking heads, you know, it's not the like going and interviewing a lot of the politicians. It's all like the people who are voting for them, the people who are going to rallies, the people who are like behind the scenes of all of these like campaigns and everything. And so like hearing kind of the real stuff behind it, it's really interesting, because I do find myself siloed a little bit in the like political podcasts that I listen to, where I'm like, you know, it's rooting for my side, right? And they're talking crap about the other side, and they're talking up my side. And like that's great for, you know, it's kind of like the feel good side of it. But like if you want real like in-depth cool journalism type stuff, the run up is really good. I also I might even put in today's show notes. I don't know if we'll have show notes.
We will. I was gonna say, make sure you have a link to everything you're talking about, because I do.
Totally. So I will do that. And there's another couple ones that just like other podcasts that I really like that will go in there. So I'll add some extras in the show notes for us.
Nice. That's great. We'll put
Okay,
that
do you
on
want
the
to
website.
do movies or TV shows to shout out from 2023?
Oh man, movies or TV shows? Why don't you start?
Okay. Okay. So I watched watched a bunch of different ones. I'm gonna do TV first. I have two.
Okay.
Um, there's a show called Scavengers Reign that is on Max, the one to watch for HBO.
Yeah.
And Scavengers Reign is this great animated weird cool sci-fi show. It was based off a 2-minute like animated short that two guys made that they just put up on YouTube, and then it got picked up for an entire season of it, and so they made this entire season of it. It is really good, really interesting, really crazy, like alien designs, like very different than what you see in lots of different sort of alien
Yeah.
stuff. But also crazy like body horror. Like, don't, this is not like a children's show. Like,
Body
yeah, I
horror.
mean,
Oof.
it's just like that's what the aliens do on this planet, is sort of like inhabit each other in weird ways to survive. Like they use the other and so they use the humans and the humans use them. And so it's all like this symbiotic thing of all surviving with each other, but a lot of that is killing each other in the same way that as humans kill each other. But it's like, but it's anyway, it is very interesting, good 10 episode, fast, they're half an hour.
How
I
many of them
think
are there?
10
Okay.
maybe, like, so a season, like really really good, really good. And then I will do also my other TV show to shout out, The Last of Us. I feel like was really good. Like I
Oh,
watched the
fair.
Last of Us, based on the video game. Pedro Pascal in it.
That
Like
was
the
good.
I'm not sure who the girl is who plays the girl in that. I never played any of those video games, so I had no context for any of the Last of Us stuff. But just like a good drama show that I looked forward to, and I'm excited for the next season.
That's actually a good call out because I'll be honest, I'm the lamest at this category because I don't watch anything ever. I watched that and that you're like, oh yeah, that came out. The only movie I think I watched in 2023 was The Pope Exorcist. Because like Heather wanted to watch the movie, so I was like, "All right, I'll watch that with you." Like I literally did not watch any movies, but I'm gonna just throw this in. So I would agree with The Last of Us. I just had not a lot of engagement with any kind of media this year. I've just been focused on other things. Like I'd rather play a video game when I have the opportunity, or other
Sure.
kind of things I've been working on. So no slight to any of the awesome stuff that's coming out. I just haven't had a chance to check out
Sure.
some of it.
I always
Um,
feel like it's lifestyle, because like the reason I even watch movies, I'm sort of in the same boat, but like I feel like Kathy and I can't play video games as much together. It's like they're either one player, or we
yeah,
do play video games, but there's sometimes we're just like, oh, we're hanging out and there's half an hour left before we go to bed and we want to watch something,
that's a
right?
good
So
thing.
that's where usually, and I get a lot of recommendations from her.
And then and that's good, and that's the thing. And like Heather would be actually showing up for this category because she's watched a lot of good stuff lately.
Nice.
So. Um,
In the show notes,
Yeah,
have Heather add something to the show
Heather
notes.
in the show notes. What is the best of
Yeah.
2023? I will say an up and coming one, just because that's somewhat related to this category. There is one movie that I'm actually excited for, which is very rare for me to even care about a
Wait,
movie.
don't you want to do that for the what's coming up in
Well,
2024 that
that's
we're
what I was
excited
gonna say.
about?
Should I can wait for it. So let me preface it like this: is that there
Okay.
is one movie that I've watched multiple times in 2023 that have got me excited for a movie that's coming out in 2024. So
Tease. I like that.
yeah, but you'll see in a second. So cool. Yeah, we can wait till that point. Games you
Okay.
played?
Well, so I'm gonna do
Oh yeah,
my
yeah. Sorry.
two quick movies.
Oh
Two
yeah.
quick
Sorry.
movies. If you haven't seen the Barbie movie, definitely watch the Barbie movie.
Haven't seen it.
That is like I rarely watch movies multiple times unless I really love them. And like I watched the Barbie movie twice through and was like riveted the entire time. It is so hilarious
Oh
and
my
like
goodness.
different, and just like completely subverts your expectations of what a Barbie movie could be. And I go, who at Mattel had the balls to greenlight this movie, read this script, and went, sure, let's do a movie like that right now. And I can't even believe that Mattel would have greenlit that movie. It's on everything now. Prime Video, if you have Prime, I think it is
Oh my
on there. It's on
goodness.
HBO.
I'll
It's on
check it
all
out.
of those things. So watch the Barbie movie, and then the other one, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
That was
I went to the theater to see that, and like I walked out of that theater being like, I think that was the greatest superhero movie I have ever seen in my entire life. And I watched it again at home and didn't have the same like thing of it. I don't know if it was just because it was in the theater and it was gigantic and there's so much stuff happening on the screen, but like we talk about things we are excited for next year. That we'll talk about that at some point, but that is right at the top of the list. So
that
those are my two
I
movies.
would say thank you for bringing that up because I did see that one multiple times, and I think what you were experiencing was the first one was amazing.
Yeah.
It was a great
Oh,
and for them to ramp it up to the level they did and deliver like it was impressive to say the least.
totally. And it's an in between movie, right? They're
Oh,
making a trilogy of them, and that one was the in between movie. And usually the in between movie sucks. And for me to be like, this is an in between movie of the trilogy, and maybe my favorite superhero movie ever, feels like an accomplishment above
yeah,
and beyond.
they nailed it. I got to agree with good call out on that one.
Okay, games you played.
So you want me to start? You want to start? You can go.
Well, so this category is the games you played the most in 2023 and why.
Okay, so I had two categories. I'll just get the easy one out of the way.
Okay.
Mobile, I got an emulator, and this year I played Game Boy Tetris the most I've played in any game. And so, Ryan, just to let you know how my morning goes, this is how it goes. I wake up on whatever time, usually around 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock in that time frame. I wake up. I grab my phone and I do my Duolingo lessons. I do a couple
Okay.
Duolingo, learn some Spanish, and then I have to beat Tetris on the Game Boy in insane mode, like high nine, like that mode that I did on the stream. I beat it
Yeah.
once a day in the morning. That's to get my brain moving as I play that Tetris, and I play it every single day. So
Wow.
there is my
It's
mobile.
it's like the brain puzzle game for Adam.
Yeah, so Duolingo and Tetris every morning. That's a standard. But then if I go to the Xbox, it's been Starfield because I've been trying to play it on the stream as much as I can as well. And I thought it was a cool game. I like the idea of being in space.
Yeah, let's do it. Like Fallout in space, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Those are my two.
Well, Starfield is on my list as well for games that I played the most of. I've been playing it not on stream, so I'm like
Ah.
level 15, I think, or something like that. I have been hardcore mainlining the like main storyline in
Okay.
that game.
Okay.
And that's what I typically do with these types of games, like big open world games. I just get overwhelmed with all the millions of little side things. And I just go, I want to see new stuff. I want to see brand new things. And so, whatever is the main quest storyline is the main quest storyline. And I have found, like, I probably put in a tiny amount of hours to get to where I am in the game because, like, there's so much. Like, I never travel on my ship anymore.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I never travel on the ship. I go to where I'm going to go and I instantly get the thing done, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
I just go fast travel to whatever the starship is. And then it just like it lets you just warp wherever you want. You don't even have to go back to your ship. Like you just have to
Yeah.
be outside on the planet, and then you're just like, yep, now show me the star map, give me the new direction where I'm supposed to go to drop this thing off or whatever, and then I just warp to it and I don't even like engage. And so the other day I was like, I got caught up in a side
Oh
mission
man.
because I was like, there was a side mission and it was happening, and I was like, all right, I'll see what these side missions are. And part of the side mission was that I had to dog fight 3 ships in space, and I was just getting my ass handed to me because I had never done it
Never
before.
done it,
And
yeah.
and they assume at this point in the game that you've been like dog fighting and doing a bunch of stuff, and I was like, I'm just gonna have to quit the side mission. So anyway, I've been going through it. I would say that it's
Oh, that's
also
great.
not to tease this out, but it's also on my most disappointed list. I don't know if I'm just over these types of like wide open world, like, just sort of RPGs, like going at there's just a massive thing, there's sort of this line that you can push through it, and then it has side characters, and they tell you to go find this thing and then come back and shoot through a whole room full of guys until you pick up a thing at the end of the rooms, and then you bring it back. I don't know. I just maybe feel like that whole genre needs a shakeup before I'm into it again. Because I also played Hog. I also put on my list. Uh, I played the Harry Potter game, which is almost the exact same thing, except for it's a Harry Potter. Oh, this person needs you to pick up all these frogs, and then there's a bunch of bad Dementors at the end of it, and you shoot the Dementors, and you pick up the frog, and you bring it back to Hermione or whatever, right? And it's like, oh my god, they're all the same. They have to figure out that stuff. So I
Oh,
feel like I'm playing Alan Wake 2 now, which is much more like linear and story driven and showing me new and crazy things because it all be scripted, and I'm liking that much
well,
better.
and see, that's the difference between games because it's like how you put the story into it is kind of, do you want to tell it or do you want to like infer it from some of those little side missions? Because
Yeah,
like think about our game and how you have these different kind of compositions of the characters and the storyline plays out different every time you play it. At least when I play it, because I always play side missions before I play main story. Like I've played like hundreds of hours of side mission and sometimes probably not been like even a third of the way through the story. And like I don't know, some game publishers, I would say Project Red, what is it, Red Project X, the one that does The Witcher,
yeah.
um,
CD Project Red.
CD Project Red, they have like put in so many like little like elements into side stories that it is the story for me. Because if you do that,
Yeah,
like there was a guy I bumped into in an earlier side quest, and then just the way I interacted with him, like over 80 hours later, he interacted in a different way, and it was like he like progressed on his life in a good way because I helped him, and it was like
nice.
that is cool parts of the stories that interconnected in my mind.
My
But I'm
my
not.
only thing with that is I always feel like I want to see something new for my 1 hour of playtime that I
Yeah,
have,
fair.
right? And my only thing with that is I always go like, it's just going to be going and collecting frogs and bringing the frogs back. Like, and yes, there might be like a guy that says, hey, and here's a little piece
Yeah,
of lore that goes with that. But like in the end, what I'm actually physically doing for that 55 minutes of that hour is the exact same thing
you're
that
right.
I'm doing at every other side quest,
No,
which is
you're
going and killing a bunch of people in a thing and then picking up that frog and bringing it back or
you're
whatever.
that's and if it's that bad, yes, I agree because I think sometimes there's some other little story points, but the end I just was thinking about it like you're like, yes, you killed everyone, story point comes out and then like bloop, here's your little thing. Go
Here's your
take
little
it back
thing.
to your thing. I mean, what else do you
Yeah.
do? You got to go get things and bring those things back, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, good discussion on this one. All right.
What about any multiplayer games? I feel like we played Jackbox this year more. This is the year I got into Jackbox more.
I would say Jackbox is I'll just give it a notable yes. That's been cool. I want to keep going. Been working on it. I played it at work. Did I tell you about this?
No?
So I'm in a position where I'm the one that has to say we're having this party, and I was like, woke up one night, I was like, oh crap, that's me. I have to make that happen. All right, we're making a party, and I like put some emails out, scheduled them. They went out, people got the food and all that, and I was like, how am I gonna make this thing cool? And so I was like, I'm bringing Jackbox to the party. So I brought
Totally.
Jackbox, connected it in, put it on a Teams, so if anybody joined remote, they could play as well. And everyone enjoyed the hell out of it. So we played
Nice.
TKO and the Murder Mystery and Quiplash, and it's a great like way to engage people. And then you see who pushes the boundaries and stuff
Oh,
at work.
yeah.
It was good. And then I brought it to Christmas too. So we played it at Christmas, and we had 8
Nice.
people, 9 people with like audience and everything. It was great.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I did buy a TKO T-shirt for my son off
Mm,
of the website this time, so it came nicely printed and everything for him
that's
that he
awesome.
made. Yeah, we haven't been playing 10 very much, or really at all. But And then the only thing that I want to do for other multiplayer is I just want to shout out once again, my probably most played multiplayer this year is Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville. And that sounds ridiculous because that is a almost like 8-year-old, 7-year-old game. But oh my God, that is the game that we come back to as a family. It's couch. You could do multiplayer couch
There
co
you
op, which
go.
is one thing that never happens anymore. The game is so amazingly balanced between all of the hero shooter, like all of the heroes that you can choose. It is amazing. And it's still going. The only reason I want to shout it out is because I want more people to play it because you can tell it's getting a little janky around the corners. It will like hard lock sometimes. You can just tell they're not putting as many like,
It's
engineers on it or
probably
whatever, software
done. They
engineers.
probably cut the cord.
Well, so they haven't. So all the servers are up. You can still play it. It still goes through
Yeah.
Christmas time themes, and
Okay.
there's all the stuff that goes through
It's
it.
on
So there's,
schedule.
it's
It's on
there for a
rails.
little bit, right? But man, I wanted to keep going because it is an amazing multiplayer experience. And the good thing about it now is everybody who's playing Plants vs Zombies Battle for Neighborville at this point is like hardcore into it.
Of
So
course.
everyone plays their class really well. Everyone like knows what they're supposed to be doing, how to revive people so that you get your kills back. Anyway, it's like really fun and really good. And usually they are like kick ass.
There's a fanboy here.
They,
Look at this
you
guy.
can always tell a game is really a multiplayer's game is good when all the games are like right up until you're not getting crushed 20 to 50,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You're
yeah.
not getting annihilated, and for the most part, we're not. So it's like it's always fun in between. So
There you
I just want
are.
to give that a shout, so more people will.
Hell yeah! I mean, I pulled out Game Boy Tetris, so you
Yeah,
can pull
that's
out
true.
your thing. So yeah, hell yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, do you want to do one thing you wanted to do in 2023 but didn't?
Yeah, mine's simple. I wanted to go to the beach, man. I didn't get to go to the beach.
No beach.
I love the
No beach
beach. I
this
like to
year.
just like listen. I listen to the waves every night on my little thing. It's like play ocean sounds and.
Did you ever think about moving to a place that had a beach?
Nah, I mean,
No?
I thought about it, but I like where I'm at in the mountains
Sure.
and things like that. But I just love going to the beach. One of the
Yeah.
coolest last vacations I had, we had a beachfront property thing that we rented out, and it had the window open for like a week straight of just the ocean. So you'd go out and you'd see the ocean from your window. I was like, this is the best. I want to hear this
That's
every
awesome.
night. So that's why I started doing ocean. So that's my thing. I wanted to go to a beach, but I didn't get to go.
Okay, I had two. I wanted to play Jedi Survivor because I loved the first I can't remember what it was, Jedi something game. Jedi Survivor came out this year, but I just did not have time to it. And then I wanted to create more like in real life art, that isn't digital art, like something that you could like look at
yeah.
and hang up or do things. And I didn't do as much of that, so I might put that on my list again for next year. I mean, we made a little bit in the sense of the AI board game
Sure.
and things like that, and I did a little bit in my office, but not as much as I wanted to. So that's on the regret list for 2023. Okay, what will you remember most from 2023?
This is always hard because like there's all kinds of categories you go in, and so I went from very high level categories as typical Adam, personal and professional.
Sure.
This was like a formative year for my family growing up and everyone getting older, like kids going into high school and like doing all their normal things. Like it felt like I'm old. Like people don't look at me in that way anymore. Like I'm like I got wrinkles and stuff on my forehead.
Totally.
Like it was formative for me in that like yeah, I saw everyone get older and they're doing their stuff. So that was the top level thing that I would remember from this year from a personal standpoint. From a professional, major career changes this year, like big transitions at work, a lot of stuff that was different than, even the past 10 to 15 years was not that. So it was
Right.
like very transformational this year. That was the top memorable. But I would say then in terms of our stream and everything, it was clearly making this amazing board game and like landing the plane on being able to do a project with you. Because
Yeah.
I think we've started a lot of things, but we've never like been able to always get it to the finish line that we did this time. And so
Totally.
that we proved that hey, we put in the work, we get the thing, and we get the thing done, and we did it. And so I was proud of that.
Nice. Oh, those are great. Those are great. In fact, that's a lot in the line of the three things that I had. I had one as the Extra Life stream.
Oh,
I feel like will
yes.
be something that I remember from 2023 like quite a bit. That felt like super fun and engaging and something that I had never done before. So I'm putting that one on the bucket list,
Hell
for
yeah.
2023.
+1.
I'm gonna say what I will remember most is this is the year that AI came into my actual work, right? Like Adam and I had talked about AI and it had sort of been on my like I read a whole bunch of books about AI like 5 or 6 years ago, and it was all like academic, right? It was all like what could happen in the future. And this year it went from like as an academic thing that Ryan is just interested in sort of sci-fi things to like holy shit, this is part of my job now that I do and is discussed in meetings of how we are going to use this. It is like, every thing, the new project that we come up with, like it is an element of how this is integrated into this. And that just felt like a crazy like beginning of something that like I think I will remember this as like the beginning of that never going away at this point and only getting more incorporated. And then as a family thing, this one's just sort of a little funny. It was the first year that I gave a shit about what was happening in the children's sports. Because, I feel like before this, like all their sports things were like, just little fun things that they did to learn,
Mm-hmm.
to have community. It like I didn't care about them in the sense of like whether they did well or not. It was more like, do you have friends, in your thing? Is it like a thing that you're
Yeah.
excited about? And this year, because Trenton is getting older, he's 13 now, right? So that's like a whole
Yeah.
big milestone of like being able to be like more adultish and like figure out what he wants to do. His swim meets of like going to swim meets and being like, holy crap, let's check it. And what times did he get? And did he beat the time from last time? And did he do that? Like I was actually more into it
That's
this year as
awesome.
opposed to
No,
just on my phone. And then when he come, I feel like before this, it was more like me on my phone. And then he would come up and be like, hey, yeah, I saw you race for that 1 minute. Great job. You did amazing. Right. And now it was like, oh, let's look at like the replay of what you did. It's how to figure out like what's going on and all of
if you
that.
hit
So
this
that
at
was
this
fun.
one angle and you would be able to put that in there.
You're like,
I,
and then I would just rail at him for
I'm
hours
so
at a
disappointed with
time.
you.
And
I'm
and then we would
done.
just go to this pool and I would, whip him with a cane if he didn't do good enough.
Oh man,
Right.
no, that's great.
Those
If
are
they're
good
at
ones.
that, they're growing up. They're like getting into that
Seriously.
competitive piece. That's awesome, dude. So good one,
Totally.
good call out.
Yeah. Okay. Biggest surprise of 2023.
So that's kind of where I was different with you. Like remembering most, and the bigger surprise is how fast the AI became pervasive to me because we did play
Mm.
with it, and I remember the time that you didn't know ChatGPT yet, and you were in the playground, and you were doing a good job, and then I had been using ChatGPT even just like 3 days more than you are. I mean, it wasn't like nothing, but it was just how quick that I was like, no,
Yeah.
this is it, and then you're like, oh, this is it, and then that's the one that blew up, and it became this huge thing, and then it's been pervasive in everything. Everything's AI. So I would say my biggest surprise and why I left it for this one instead of the remembering is because it's the beginning of something. I went to a full on day workshop with one of our vendors at work. I don't even say who it was, and just to see their AI plan and how it's working, it put the lens of how we talk about it in a different kind of way. And so that's one thing that was a surprise to me is that I think we've been narrow in the way that we've looked at how AI is affecting certain things. We've talked about other things. We always go to the humanity philosophical rabbit hole, but then like to put ourselves into like how is AI affecting like other industries and other things
Right.
that we're looking at. We interviewed Sam. So I think it was more of that surprise and seeing like it isn't all great, and I can understand why certain people are a little bit more like not frustrated or like concerned with it because it's helping us. It's additive to some of the stuff that we do because we accept it to be additive, but it could be, subtractive to other kinds of things that are out there that we're working. I was looking at medicine and how they're like identifying different ways of like diagnosing diseases and different ways that they may be able to do that, and other like ways that they look at like patient records and all kinds of other applications to it that made me be like, okay,
Totally.
like AI is not just affecting that creative design side. So that was my biggest surprise of how pervasive and big and how game changer it's going to be for the next couple of years.
I did not put that one on there because I was not surprised at that. I'm almost like I literally have one. My biggest surprise of 2023 was that the art community did not embrace AI
Mm.
as thoroughly as I thought that they would to make creative things. Like obviously Mid-Journey and all of these things that like create images. And even in that thing of like creating videos, we sort of saw that like right at the end of the year, kind of the Pika and things like that coming out that could create videos from text. I just thought we would see a ton more like really interesting installation art or types of art that was building in there. And maybe it's just because it took a while for like them to build it into the tools that we use every day, right? So like maybe, and I do think I have this as a prediction for next year, that like we will see sort of more of the AI being used as opposed to companies building it into tools. Like now it's built into the tools. What do people use with those tools at this point? And I just thought I would see more, and maybe I'm just not in the right circles of seeing it, but like it didn't bubble up as like any interesting things that I was seeing. So that was maybe like kind of a disappointment for me. So maybe that's in the next category. But yeah, biggest surprise is I was like, come on, where's all this cool AI art?
No, and that I can see where you go with that, and I think it's just the time. It's almost like this is the in between episode that you say is always sucky in between chapters, is that we need some time for it to develop. Let's get the AI boom to like get through its crap, and then all the stupid stuff that AI isn't actually doing,
Right.
and then the really good things hopefully are kind of realized in a different way.
Yeah. Okay. So did you have any more surprises, or do you want to do biggest disappointments of 2023?
We could go to disappointment. You go for it.
Okay. Okay, so I had biggest disappointments of 2023. I had Hogwarts and Starfield on my biggest disappointments of video
Yeah.
games. So like I think maybe I have just like gone away from that thing. And then I had Silo. So I basically already talked about all of my disappointments. They're media driven disappointments. That was the main thing I was thinking about, but love to hear yours.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's the challenge for me, is I always see these things and I think about it at different levels. It's like there could be some bad movies and there are the things out there too. Like I'll just go with the heavy stuff. It's like the war going on and all this other political crap this year, just like progressing as long as it has, and it just like escalating. So it's just disappointing to see that that's like constantly a threat of things that seems like we can never escape as humans. So
True.
super
It's getting
disappointing.
worse, right?
Yeah.
Multiple wars.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was just really disappointing. There's the ebb and flows, and you hear about these things. So I'd say I was disappointed just in that kind of thing.
In like humanity.
Humanity's thing. So let's put that on there and just say yes. I acknowledge that's a disappointment.
Sure.
But if I went to like more of some of the
superficial
things about life, because it's hard to be disappointed when you have all that as there. Everything else is there. Is I think that see, yours is the media things, but in my case it's I think there's not a lot of like the quality kind of games that would come out that I used to be really excited to be engaged in playing. It feels like it's a lot of those ones where it's iterative on some other generation. It's like not new, or it's not exciting, or it has microtransactions. It was funny because like I was playing a game with my son. He was playing it's like Super Nintendo game, and he's playing around with it. And then he's like, "This sucks." And I was like, "Why?" Because it doesn't have microtransactions. And then then he started laughing about it and realizing like, no, these are actually really cool games. Like we were playing Kirby, and Kirby was a really just a fun like hold this. I was like, it's in this package that I bought in the 1980s, and you can plug it into this thing, and it's a fun experience through and through. And I don't have to update it. I don't have to do anything other than enjoy it. And so I've just missed that. There's nothing that was like game changing for me that I was looking for out there that was like, oh no, I've already played this, like you said, Starfield or any of the other like shows that have been coming out and things like that.
I do think I agree with you in the video games, but I also sort of think like, is it just because there are so many like different and weird video games that comes out, and I also don't have time to play them? Because I know with Game Pass, right? Like tons of games
It's
come
true.
out, and I'm just like, and I just try them for like a play session. Basically, I'm like, oh, I got 45 minutes here, and I'm gonna play Cocoon. Like Cocoon came out, and it's like a puzzle game, and you're this little guy, and you're running around, and you're warping into worlds. And like, if that would have come out when I was like 12 years old, I mean, it would have been mind blowing. Obviously, like it does so many different crazy things, and all the animation, and all like the way the puzzles are laid out. but I just like I played it for 2 sessions, then I was like, okay, I sort of got it. Like I
It
feel
was
like what they're
fun.
doing, it didn't like push me forward. And so maybe just like my expectations have changed that in order for me, for busy Ryan to put the time into it, like it's got to be mind blowing, right? Which is one thing I would say. Trenton said something. I was playing Starfield, and he was like, something came up where it glitched and it like went down, and I had to start it back up. And he was like, "What if it lost your save?" And I was like, if it lost my save, I would quit playing Starfield for forever. And I was thinking about it. I was like, that's not a good, recommendation for this game. That like, if I had to start over, I would never touch it again. I was like, it's just the momentum that is pushing me through it at this point to kind of see where the end of
You're
the
true.
storyline goes.
Well, and maybe that's what I guess I'm getting at is that I really got immersed in like The Witcher, and that's like years old, and like Starfield I was hoping to get in deeper, and it's good. It's maybe not to the what I wanted with other games. Like there isn't like a one that just is good. If that I
Yeah.
like, I specifically like. There's a lot of great games out there, just not the
I,
ones that
I will let you know about Alan Wake 2 because, it's sort of like horror,
Mm-hmm.
suspense, like
I watched you play
mystery,
your
like
first one.
and action but I heard the first one is not as good. It's almost like
No, when you were streaming on your first Alan Wake stream, I watched the
yeah,
intro. I mean, you're not deep in, but
sure. Well, and I was like, I had heard that people say like the first one is kind of like what they set out to do, they couldn't do in the first one. And really like the second one is more like this is what they were actually trying to get done.
that's cool.
But they weren't a big enough studio and they didn't have the money and they didn't, weren't able to work with the hardware as well. So anyway, I'll let you know. Like,
Yeah,
we're
I'm
planning on
anxious
streaming more
to
of that,
play it. So I got
Yeah.
a PlayStation as well to play like some other PlayStation
Ooh,
games that
nice.
that Carson had. So it was like the Last of Us series. I wanted to also play at that, which always reminded me of Alan Wake, which I know it's not the same at all in any regard, but it's like they came out at times when I wanted to
Okay.
play those games and never got to do it. So you'll have to,
Yeah, nice.
because Alan Wake you can play on any system, right?
No, it's only Epic. They they
Mm.
did it to well, so I mean, I think you can play if you want to play it on a PC, you have to play it through Epic. But
Okay.
yeah, you could play it on Xbox or PlayStation, I think.
Yeah, maybe I have to check that out. Cool. All right. What's the next one? Or are we good?
Coolest 3D, so it's the last oh no wait, most fun 3D print of the year. So this could be either us 3D printing something or something that you saw, like,
Yeah.
I feel like Jason, Disturb Shifty in our Discord, but like posts a lot of cool like 3D printed things. I was looking back through some of those. I was just like, hey, and I only have one really, and that's our amazing AI board game that we printed
All right. So that made
as
my
the
list.
coolest.
That made my list. Oh,
But I thought maybe you might have some
did
other
you
ones
know
that
we
you.
we released it? The game has been
Yay!
released on printables. So
Amazing.
I think we'll talk about that. Well, the only other thing I would say was notable is when we had the when I worked at Kylea, and we did her medallions for her Sea of Thieves festival.
That's
And
right.
that was like, I thought that was a really fun time to be able to do that.
Yeah.
All right, what we're gonna do is I wanted to show you our board game. I thought this was a cool point in the show to be able to do that, so we can kind of
Cool.
see where we're at. So I'm gonna go to this main screen here, and we're gonna look at the board game. There we go. So, we can edit this. I put it out actually yesterday just so you can kind of see it. So this is at printables.com right now, and if you wanted to see this, like I think I have a link that I'll share you for you. But then it just shows the board game. It shows all 41 files that we have.
Nice.
Of all the different parts and pieces and things that we did. So I clicked on this one. It was like you could remix it, but then you have to like at least do attribution, and you can't use it for commercial use and stuff like that.
Okay.
So
That seems
I
right.
thought it was just like, let's keep it as free as possible without like getting people trying to sell it and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So I wish we could compete it into things, but it's like what's cool is if you were like, hey, I want to go check out Krampus over here, you can go to the Krampus model, and then there's our Krampus model, and you could like
Amazing.
rotate it, you could see all the pieces and parts of it, and you can look at all the different models that we have within our interface.
That's
to be able to
awesome.
jump onto it. So let's go look at Steward, for example. And so what's cool is that it's all there on the site, and then at the very bottom of the page, and this is where I'll need your help, is we got the print group details and then the instructions, but these are the old instructions. So
Okay,
this
we
is,
can update those.
yeah, I can delete these old ones, and so we need the new ones with the
Cool.
backgrounds, because I don't have any of that
I'll
stuff.
send those to you right after. Yeah, I brought my hard drive here, so I should be able to
Yeah.
send it to you.
So just put it in the Google Drive, and I think
Cool.
we'll be good with that. But I just was gonna say I was really proud of this. This is like
Yeah.
it's officially out now. Once we update those instructions, like people can download it and do all the different work.
Oh, see, perfect. And you got like the website in there, so people will be like, yeah, if you want to see us build this entire thing from scratch, I feel like you should include something that says we basically built the entire thing on stream if you care to watch.
Well, and that's what I was going for. Is I was trying to get everyone to realize that we did this on stream, and so it's something that they'll be able to do. So I'm
Again, like you said, proud of us for 2023 for creating and finishing a project.
and it's fun as hell. It is really
And
a
it's
fun
fun.
game. So that's the
Man.
cool part. So
So my parents watched the stream where we were doing it live.
Yeah.
And she was like, you know, very few games that like we watch someone, you know, like Scrabble or something, or
Yeah.
just like games that you play are like the people having as much fun, it feels like, as you all were having fun playing that game. And he was like, and my mom was like, even Jason, who like didn't, you know, wasn't there, didn't see it like come through the entire like way of it, was like having a great time just playing it as a board game to play. And I was like, yeah, it's true.
it's a good thing, and like even if it exists as is, I think that's something cool.
Yeah.
So
I'm proud of it for even as is, as 1.0. It finally went 1.0.
it's 1.0. We're out. It's done. It's being the cool thing is it's being printed at school. I gave it to the kids, and I just said, "Here, see if you can print this," and stepped
Nice.
away. And
were
so
they able to?
it's halfway done. They didn't finish it all the
Nice.
way, so it's like I saw a bunch of our characters and pieces and parts all coming together. So we're in a
Awesome.
good space.
That's awesome. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I had 2023 World. I had what was the coolest story in tech from 2023?
Coolest story in tech. When they decided to go to X.
That was the coolest.
Coolest is in the
You're like when they
worst.
changed it over to the cool letter of X as opposed to that lame word of Twitter. What did that even mean?
Yeah, stupid X. I really did not. I mean, to me, that was like one of the bigger stories is them just doing that kind of a thing because it's a huge a social media network. But then there's all the AI stuff as well, so it's been hard to balance out what
Yeah.
really is the biggest story and most impactful. It sounded ridiculous to go to X. That was one of mine.
That was that one, the whole entire Twitter in 2023 story was pretty ridiculous to follow. So I had two, all with AI, sort of like a larger story maybe of generative AI incorporated into everything, like every business, every, you know, thing from Salesforce to Target, like put generative AI into their things that they were
Yes,
doing,
they did.
right? Like literally everyone jumped on a generative AI bandwagon. They made it easy to incorporate into platforms and stuff. And that's part of what I want to, well, I'll save it for the 2024 ones. But I feel like this was the year that, like, in 2022 all these businesses saw it coming.
Yeah.
And they went, oh my God, and they played with it and they tried it, and then they went, we gotta build this into our thing. We're gonna get left behind if we don't. And so everyone did, we will see how successful they are, I think, next year. And then the other one I would say is, and maybe this is just because this is the one that I followed, but is all of that in between, or like stuff of Sam
Oh
Altman
yeah, I knew that
and
was going to be on your list.
OpenAI. Like, man, was that whole thing pretty crazy, and really showed the tension between the business side of AI and the safety side of AI, and how those things. I mean, you could talk about the European Union and like the Biden administration really also trying to not do the same thing that they did with the internet and did with social media, which is come in 5 years too late and try to regulate a business that had already blown up and had a ton of mistakes. They really tried to be like, no, we're not going to do that this time. We're going to jump in early and we're going to try to regulate this. But I feel like they picked a hard one to jump in on, because it's going to be so different and
So
it's going to change so
exponential.
much
Oh yeah.
that like they're going to have a tough time. Like, even all of those AI regulations that they did like 2 years ago didn't talk about generative AI at all. So they
No.
basically had to rewrite it all this year to include everything that is new in AI, which is, they just feel like what is everyone is going to be doing constantly. And it's going to ramp up so quick, they're going to have to rewrite those rules every 6 months as opposed to every 2 years now. So,
Just use AI to
well,
rewrite that crap.
exactly. That's what we need. I'm reading a book right now that's a big like for sci-fi thing that I always read called Scythe, and it's like they talk about the Thunderhead. That's what they call their AI, and it's just this AI that sort of like runs governments and
Yeah.
runs economies and runs all of that. It runs all of the big important things because humans are too corrupt and stupid to figure it all out. And so they just go, we're just going to take care of all of that. And you do all your little businessy stuff and you do whatever business you want to do. But like, economies and governments are what the AI controls from the cloud.
Sounds dystopian. Yeah.
you know. Okay. I had coolest 3D print story of the year, but that's obviously us. That's obviously
Yeah,
our
obviously
answer.
that was
I don't know.
clearly.
Did you have it? I didn't even have anything written down for that one.
No. I mean, there wasn't any like 3D print stories that I was familiar with.
Like 3D printed houses, right? Sort of have started to bubble up a little bit more. That was probably the
That's,
biggest
I mean,
thing.
but that's been going on for quite a bit of time. I'd say if you wanted to go to the biggest story in tech, is it's them printing meat, so using different kind of ways
Oh,
to create like it's actual meat using cells and things. So they have like
yeah.
biological 3D printers.
What do how like prediction for next year? I don't know if you had this on your thing. Like, do you think people will be into 3D meat?
I think it's going to be divisive no matter what. It just feels like it's a polarizing kind of conversation of like it's like cloning and all these other things. It's not really meat. It was made in a lab. It's not going to be good. So
Let's say it's half the price of meat.
yeah, I mean, I think it could like have its thing in there. I know it's right now. It takes more to create it because of the
Totally.
things, but if it can get it into a point of being a little
Of
bit more
like,
sustainable, then that might be something that helps a little bit
yeah, if it
more.
was like this is sustainable and it costs 75% of what a normal hamburger costs or something, I feel like people could be into it then. And people are price sensitive.
And it's like the 3D printing element was the cool part. Like it's actually
Yeah.
3D printing those things together.
Is it 3D print? I thought it was grown. I thought it was like
There's
grown from a
grown
cell.
versions and there's a now 3D print version. So if we're
And is
talking,
that just like some kind of goop that's
no,
printing into the
it's
shape?
it's like it the way you'd have to look into the science behind it, but it's like it's going. It just may be going a lot slower, and it's like putting these different pieces and biological parts together and like doing it slow enough, and it binds it like a 3D print, but with
Yeah.
biological material.
And I could see if it was printing out like, proteins at certain parts and fats at certain parts, right? So it could look like a marbled piece of,
Yeah,
steak or something.
and all those
And I assume you
pieces.
still cook it then,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's the
Okay.
same kind of thing. So that's
Nice.
what's crazy about it. Is that
See, that's a perfect combination of like 3D print and future.
and where we're headed? Yeah, we'll be 3D printing humans that are actually like come to life or something soon. Yeesh.
Perfect. Love it.
Because they do hearts and other kind of things that they can 3D print.
We were talking about a horse bit off someone's ear. It was in the news. It was Kathy was talking
Ew.
about it. And I was like, can you just get an ear? Like, because your ear is more just, it doesn't have I mean, it's made of cartilage, right? But it
Yeah.
doesn't have like organs and stuff. It's more just like on the side of your head for looks and for like getting the, sound to bounce around into your ear correctly. I was like, can they just like grow one of those anymore? Like, is that a thing? But I
I
didn't.
don't know. Yeah,
I
that's
don't
a
think
good
so
thing. I
yet.
thought they could on the backs of a rat or something.
Yeah, like I didn't know if it had gotten past that kind of like,
Yeah.
lab situation.
I know that you can make synthetic ones, but
Yeah, that's true. Like little rubber ones. Okay, should we move on to 2024?
sure. Yeah,
I
let's
feel
go
like
in.
these are like now we're getting into wild, speculation at this point.
Well,
We've gone from like us looking back to predicting the future, which is always
but there
fun
was
to do.
personal 24 and then world 24, right? You
That's
or
true. Well, like it's sort of what are you looking forward to
so
in
we said that I
2024?
don't watch movies a lot, but I will say one movie that I am super stoked to watch is the
Okay.
new Dune movie.
The Dune movie, Dune 2.
Yes, Dune 2. I have like
Okay.
I'm a big fan of the other and like other people weren't, but I thought they did an amazing job at building like a whole society and feeling like you're on a planet and having this like really cool atmosphere, and I think they nailed it. And I love the actors. I was engrossed in the first one, and I'm like super stoked about the second one. I'm not usually like this with movies, and this is one
Do
that I'm
you
excited
did
about.
you see the first one in theater?
Yes.
Did you see it in IMAX?
I didn't see it in IMAX, just regular theater.
Maybe two. You could go to the IMAX for it
Yeah.
because I heard it's like it was shot in IMAX, like so
Ooh, that
native
would be amazing.
IMAX.
Yeah, it would be amazing. It's so that's the only thing I'm really looking forward to as far as like games and pop culture movie stuff.
All
Uh,
right, well I'll take this one. Well,
yeah, go for
I'll
it.
take the heavy lift on this one because I have quite a few.
Well, I
Here.
have a few
Now,
other things too, but go with that one. Yeah, keep going.
no. Well, no. If you have more.
No, it's like, and then because you asked like, what do we do? Oh no, looking forward to. Go for it, because there was another question. What do we want to do in 2024 with DDD Double
Oh
Drop
yeah,
Down?
that's the
So,
next. That's
all
the
right,
next
keep
one.
going.
So
Jump in.
okay, so it's weird because movies and TV coming out next year, I feel like are going to be really hampered by the
Writers,
actors
yeah,
strike, right? So a bunch of the stuff that they thought was going to be coming out next year
it was
is like
Writers
not
Strike,
going to
right?
come out.
Was it Writers Strike?
All of that thing. So I'll start with movies and TV. Did you see the commercial for Civil War?
Wow, no, I hadn't.
Okay, so there's a movie that is coming out by the guy who directed like
Oh,
Annihilation
okay.
and like other good movies, and it's an A24. I think it's A24. Anyway, the studio, and they do like, they've been doing bigger movies, and they're always like, sort of controversial. Anyway, it's about America's Civil War, and it's like a few years in the future, right? And like certain states have seceded, and like California and Texas are its own countries now.
Oh,
And then
jeez.
there's like a Western alliance and a Southern alliance and things. And like it's basically about America's Civil War, which I thought was like very pertinent and creepy to think about, and like a fun one to think about how it do. So I definitely want to see it. The director of Ex Machina, like I don't know if you ever saw
Yeah,
Ex
yeah. Oh, I
Machina,
did.
the robot movie. Anyway, that one was cool. Beyond the Spider Verse was supposed to come out in 2024. I don't think it's going to come out. I think they pushed
No.
it back, so that's unfortunate because that was one of my favorite movies of 2023. Um, Mickey 17 is supposed to come out, and what that was is like nothing of what you would think it is. But like Mickey 17 is by the director of Parasite. I don't know if you ever saw Parasite, the
Mm-hmm.
movie.
Yeah, yeah.
It was about like people living in somebody else's house, and sort of taking over all of their roles and kind of scamming them. And this one is about a guy who's colonizing an ice planet. Anyway, I was just like, they have no trailers for it or anything, but I was like, man, I really loved Parasite, and I would love to see what that Bon Ho Joon, I think is his
Yeah.
name. Anyway, he's like a Chinese like director. Anyway, or Korean director. Yeah, like I think it's gonna be super cool, and so I'm excited for that one. Avatar: The Last Airbender, the live action series is coming out. I am not excited necessarily for what that, but I have to see that. I love Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm gonna watch anything that comes from that universe.
Oh yeah.
It might be one of those things where I hate watch it the entire time.
You
So,
hate watch it,
I'm
like
gonna
like
hate
like the
watch.
Halo series.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna hate watch it. Oh, is the Halo series coming out? Maybe
I
I'll
think
throw that on
so.
the list.
Yeah, it is.
And then
Oof.
the last one for series is Andor season 2. I don't know if you watch anything on Disney Plus, but
I'm
Andor was a
familiar.
really one of, I think, the best Star Wars things that has come out in the last 5 years. It had no Jedi, it had no lightsabers, it had no Yoda, it had no Skywalkers, it had none of that crap, which is great because they have overplayed that stuff like far too much
Oh yeah.
and mined it for all the nostalgia and wrung it out as much as it could. And this was a completely different story just in that world, and it was really compelling, I thought. And so a second season of that,
That
I'm excited for that.
sounds
Okay,
great.
video games that are coming out in 2024. Not as many big ones as I had thought. I was sort of looking through a list of what is coming out. The main one that I'm really excited for, Hades 2, because Hades was an amazing roguelike game, the only roguelike game that I have ever like been into and really like brought up. Which roguelike, if you don't know, is where you go in and you die and you start over at the very beginning every time that you die, right? So there's no save states, you don't make it through. And at the beginning, you're dying so frequently, you're like, how am I ever going to make it to the end of this game? But after playing it for 8 or 10 hours that you would normally play in a game, you have leveled up because every
Mm-hmm.
time you die, you get a little bit of extra that adds to what you can do when you come in next time. And by the end, you are fighting Hades at the end of hell, like at the end of it. Anyway, just really cool characters from
Yeah, that
everything that
sounds
I've
great.
seen from what's coming in Halo or Hades 2 seems super cool. And then Little Nightmares 3
I was
is
gonna
coming
say,
out.
yeah, Little Nightmares. You gotta call that one out.
So like Little Nightmares, my family has played. We are like scaredy cat gamers. Like we don't watch horror movies. We don't, but like games we have dipped a little bit into sort of the kids horror, Phasmophobia and things like that we have played. But man, Little Nightmares 1 and 2 both get a ton of playtime in our household, and the second one is supposed to be multiplayer, like you're playing as two little characters inside of it. The only thing, no couch co-op, which I feel
They
like the
you said
death
yeah
of
they
couch co-op continues
got to
to
go
haunt
get
me.
multiple systems, plug them both in.
Oh no, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me. Check check. You should be able to hear me. You must have done it
No,
yourself.
can you hear me?
I can hear you. Oh yeah. Well, Little Nightmares was one of those ones that you were saying like it doesn't have the co-op. Can you hear me now? No, he can't
Yes,
hear
I
me.
can hear
Oh
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, we were talking about the Little Nightmares and how that particular one is dropping that. It's like you have to have the two different um systems anymore and two TVs. It's like it's all because you can still play multiplayer. You just you can't do it couch unless
Yeah.
you set up a couch system.
And like I hope that they are cool about it because I have two Xboxes in our house with two screens.
Yeah.
And so we could physically play that. But if they don't set it up right, like, do I have to buy two versions of it and have it both purchased on the thing?
Yeah,
Like, that's
you
going to
do.
be really crappy.
You do. You have to have them both.
Ugh. Okay, and then no, that was the main video game stuff that I had that I'm looking. So those are all the media stuff that I'm looking forward to. I feel like it's going to be a weird year. Like,
Yeah.
I wonder how many people are going to sort of start incorporating generative AI stuff into their games.
That's
I
what I was
wonder,
gonna
like,
say. It's like
yeah.
I don't have any call out games. There's nothing that like blew my skirt up in a way that was like, oh yeah, this is coming out this next year. Like I heard some talkings about a new Witcher coming, so that's got me kind of perked on interest. But I'm interested in more like how the games are gonna look. Like you just said, like AI being a little bit more talkative, or however that might integrate. And then
I feel like it would be so much better. Like Starfield would be so much better with generative AI in it
oh
if
my
they can
god, you
figure that
get
out.
probably like talking with someone way too long. It'd be funny because he would never know if it's a real story or not, and then
Right.
and that would be great.
I I just feel like it could know if I'm wearing a crazy hat, right? Or like if I'm doing something weird, or if I'm like going over to, or if I'm at this part of the story, or I have this sort of
Oh
element
yeah.
of it. Like if it can start incorporating that into what it's talking about, it would feel like such a live, vibrant world more than just like, I'm doing a bunch of crazy things and running around and I have this crazy hat on, and they're just like, hey, stranger, like, can you help me find my frog? And it's like,
You and your
it
frog
breaks it.
finding.
Hey, I'm just leaning into that, but like as the example. So like, if it could be like, oh my God, like you have this crazy hat, and it could like eventually get me to the point where I'm going to look for the frog, that feels like way like more immersive.
No, I agree. No, it's I think I can't wait to see some of that. So
Yeah.
as far as predictions going forward for me, I'm not seeing a lot on that game front. There's a lot of little like duos and second ends and third ends on games that are coming out, but we'll see how it comes. Unless they come out with a new Game Boy Tetris, then I'm probably not going to be too excited.
Then Adam is all ears.
All right. So, what was the next predictions for the wild predictions, right, for the world?
Oh, well, do you want to do what does Double Drop Down want to do in 2024?
Yeah, I was gonna say we could either do that now or we can do it at the end. But yeah, as far as
Oh yeah, let's do it. Let's save that one for the end.
yeah,
Okay. So let's do world. What are some predictions for 2024? AI, tech, art, games, one safe pick and one wild pick.
oh man, the safe pick is that it's just gonna be iterative, and that we're gonna just slowly grow into this AI, and it's not gonna be super invasive like we were thinking about. I think that is like some
That's
of
your
my.
safe pick?
I'm thinking that's my safe pick is that we're gonna. There's just enough out there that there's just gonna not be enough power or ability in some companies to keep running their AI kind of thing because they're all plugged into some of the similar platforms. So the prediction is that it's going to start to taper off, and you're going to get like more leaders in that space. Like, is it going to be ChatGPT and Microsoft and Facebook or Meta and and then that's where we land on, and it's not like super pervasive elsewhere. That's my safe pick.
Okay, I'll do my safe pick. Okay, my safe pick is that there's going to be a ton of AI creation in 2023. Like I sort of mentioned this a little bit, like with like talking about art, but I feel like everyone has had time to sort of think about projects that they want to do with more AI. It's built more into the tools that you would use. And I'm not exactly sure if it's like a movie built with AI or a game, or I just think that like we're going to start seeing the creative side of like now that all these tools are built and now that we have all of this stuff. I mean, Adam and I, we're at the tip of the spear here, of course, obviously with our
Building these amazing board games.
With our amazing board game. But I just think that like more of that kind of stuff is going to get in now that like it's in everything everyone is talking about. There's so like low barrier of entry to start using that in all your projects. And I also feel, I mean, when we talk about art stuff, maybe the reason that art stuff didn't come on there because in 2023 is because there was too much like controversy around it. Like, you're using art stuff in your board game, then we're boycotting your board game and doing that, right? And I can totally understand that for using the art and using the generation in the same way that you would typically use an illustrator. But what I want to see is how could you use that type of art or do those types of things in a way that a regular human illustrator could never do. Right. And then when you do that, when you get past that hurdle, then I feel like there's less ways for there to be controversy around it because you're like, hey, I'm using this in a completely different way that wouldn't, be able to be used like by an illustrator. Just like I can create things in Photoshop that I'd never be able to create like collage together or whatever, like cutting things out and photocopying it or whatever people did before Photoshop. Like if they can move beyond that and start using that and using those tools, I feel like 2023 is going to be the year where we see the creative use of AI and like
2024
fun, interesting, amazing things.
Yeah, no, yeah, and I agree with you in that. And I think the challenge that we're going to see is that we're going to be pushing ourselves further away from like just that general creativity that like it was trained on. And so if I was going to add the darker side to that is like we keep just generating AI on AI and then it trains itself. Are we at like this ability to get to this weird critical side of it where it doesn't know. Everything starts getting all messed up because it doesn't have a good data set. Doesn't have a clean data set to learn if it learns on itself. There's
I guess the only thing that I would say to that is like at some point you then just use whatever it can generate to then build something larger and crazier from that, right? Like just in the sense that I can use photographs that I took, right, to make something crazier with photographs. And photographs didn't go away,
right.
but like the artwork that I can make with photographs is way more than if I didn't have photographs. Whereas now the artwork that I can create is crazier and different and more engaging or more like, innovative because of the AI that I can use. That's what I'm hoping.
Well, and if you do that though, that's what I'm saying is you're taking less photographs because you already took all the photographs and you're using AI to do it. So we're getting further away from some of these more practical ways of capturing our society.
And I hope, and I don't know if I'm necessarily like encouraged by it, but I do feel like there should be something that like compensates people for their artwork being used in the larger like sense of this. I'm gonna mute while this
that dog is like, very excited about your insights on that for sure. No, so I'd say that like I have those kind of crazy. Now, as far as a wild prediction is that it gets like AI starts to get out of control in ways that we can't really put our hands on it. Maybe something happens. I watch those robots and how they put AI into it, doing some of the little walkthroughs and all those areas of like touring an area. And I'm like, this is just right on the cusp of it being like terrible. And it just one little like thing goes wrong and a cathode goes off and now it's like broke its rule of murdering people and now it's like learning how to build itself in better ways and we're done.
Nice. That was right along my lines of my sort of. Well, I had two wild picks. I broke the rules and had two wild picks.
Oh man.
One of them is sort of more consumer focus driven. I'm gonna say my wild pick is the Apple Vision Pro. The VR headset is a complete bust. And nobody buys that thing, and they totally give up on it after a little bit. I feel like I'm not convinced that anyone has figured out what the killer app is for VR and AR, and I think people will buy it because it's Apple, and companies will purchase it because they think this is the next big thing of it. But they're going to find out quickly that there's just like nothing to do in there that is more convenient or better in that headset than just doing in real life. And I don't know where that comes from, but I don't think it's next year. And
no, not with that kind of thing. I agree with you there, sir.
And then my other one was that we get some real scary predictions about AGI coming.
Mm-hmm.
Like we get some real like, holy shit, it's way sooner than we thought it was going to be. Like that's my prediction. By the end of the year, we don't have AGI, we don't have any of that, but we have like inklings of it coming sooner than people had thought.
I agree. What was the P-Doom thing you said? It was 2025, baby. So
oh my god.
So you're
2025.
That's what they're saying.
Nuts.
Oh.
If you don't know what P-Doom is, look up P-Doom and figure out your own P-Doom score.
Well, I'd say that then to end our fun little jaunt today is really what are we going to do with Double Drop Down, specifically the Hangout or any other channels that we have within our Double Drop Down network.
Wait. I wanted to do one more.
Oh, he's got one more.
Do you see increasing in 2024, decreasing? I sort of feel like we talked a little bit about that kind of goes into the same thing, but is there anything that you had for increasing or decreasing?
Not particularly. I mean, I see kids using like apps and things way more. Like TikTok is super pervasive. That's the communication. It's not email. It's nothing. It's like there are other apps that they use as their killer app to go through. So maybe my prediction is the trend of not using like some of the mainstream social media apps and always finding a different way to communicate is going to be a big thing.
Okay.
My kids are constantly on headsets and like in different apps and always talking with someone.
Nice. Okay. Nice. I totally think that's gonna increase. Okay. I had three. I had generative video creation will take longer than image generation
Oh,
creation.
yeah.
So, you know, we got into this like Pika and stuff, like making little 3-second clips that you can do as written out. I feel like when we get to this point next year, we're not going to be like, hey, I'm making, 30-second clips that are amazing. And these shots that I'm, doing. I think that's going to take longer than it was. I'm going to say more personalized GPTs with more personality and cultural awareness. And so I think you're going to end up getting with like ChatGPT that doesn't sound like it's sort of a research or a Wikipedia article. It's going to be more like, oh man, it knows the context that you're in more. It sounds like you. I think it's going to start mimicking us, and because that's what we want. And then I'm also going to say normalizing 1.5 speed as the default on some videos. So like I've been watching like leadership videos or like technology videos that talk like videos where it's just a human being talking.
Yeah.
And I feel like watching it at 1.5 is where my brain can like understand it and process that information. And when I start listening to it then at 1.0, I go, this is too slow. Like I
See,
can understand this person more like better and it takes less time. So I'm going to say people start uploading videos at 1.5 speed. And that is just the default for certain videos is just 1.5 and then you have to turn it down to 1.
let's
To
let's
1.0.
put all our future hangouts at 1.5 somehow.
Just upload it
Pre-record
at
them.
1.5. Literally I was watching or I was creating YouTube shorts, right? For us and for other people. And I would watch it in Premiere at 1.5, right? Because I'm getting through it. I need to do the stuff. And then I would watch it and then I would edit it and I would put it down and I was like, I should just keep this at 1.5. That's where I want to watch this is 1.5 speed. Like you get through it, people know what they're saying. Like I can understand it if they're talking fast like this. But like for the most part, when you're just doing your normal cadence, too slow. So
That is true. We can understand it more. Well, those are some good trends.
and we should come back next year and look at our trends and look at our predictions
redo
and
these.
see what we came up with. Okay. All right. Let's do double drop down to end this 2-hour block that was supposed to be an hour.
Yeah, no, that I didn't think it was going to be 1 hour. I knew it was going to be a little longer. So yeah, double drop down. I only had a couple things that I know we wanted to do. Is that we're definitely now more capable for a mobile remote kind of setup. So I'd like to see a few more remote locations, and not a standard, but just something that we could do on occasion. Have some fun things that include more people, like kind of like the party style, what we did with the video game or the board game. Being able to recreate those moments and be able to capture it in such a way that it's like it's fun to still watch and hang out with us as we do those things. Maybe a audience interaction with the board game in some kind of way where chat tells us where they put their piece. That would be really fun to do something
Twitch
like
integration.
that. Like Twitch integration with like whatever we build, where you have like a physical board game where the chat actually makes it like move
like as
or
a
something
player.
as a player,
And they like
virtually
vote or something.
Yeah, they vote, but then it does the thing virtually, and then
nice.
and then it comes out and manually moves the piece. That would be awesome. The other thing is I think we interview people. We want to get some more stories, and we really want to just hear a little bit about the expertise and other insights of other folks. I think the goal, or at least what I like to see, is at least once a month out of all of our things is some sort of interview. It could be on the Hangout, it could be just in general, but it would be at least once a month interviews on Double Drop Down.
Okay, I had very similar. I had very similar sort of double drop down stuff. I did have interviews. I had maybe once a quarter to give us, So I was like, man, if we could do 4 amazing interviews a year, I feel like that would feel like a win for us. Like and not too pushing the boundaries, but we could do that. And then the one other thing was I wanted to build more things for people to experience. So like I love that we had the AI board game. Like I want to do more of that. I want to do like things that we can build together and like put out and have more people check out and experience. And then the last one was, oh, I don't have it on here. I didn't write it down. And then Kathy being in here and staring over my shoulder is making me nervous. And did you find your thing?
Yeah, and then I got Trenton. some shirts, but one of them was excessive. One of them, 2 people looked at it.
Salt life.
Camera. Yeah. So
Okay.
he likes water, so this is cute, right? Everything's good. Everything checks out. Nothing wrong with this one.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 people look at this, and we both missed it until I showed it to Trenton. Okay, so this is for a 13-year-old.
Salt life.
Salt life, yeah. He likes water a lot, so cute. Drink like a fish. We totally missed that.
Drink like a fish. Salt
I was
life.
like, oh, I really like the graphic design element of the fish tails. And sure, I saw the bottle, but I thought it was just going to be like whatever. Just
You
kind of
can
a
drink
plastic thing.
non-alcoholic beverages like a fish.
Yeah.
All right, Kathy, we're finishing up the show. We're literally in the last like 5 minutes of the
Cool.
show.
I'll just-
You'll just hang out right on my corner here. So one of my double drop down things was I feel like Kathy and I, this is a Kathy and I thing, or just even a me thing, is just doing more streams like in random. And I feel like what it might end up being is random times. Like it might end up just being that like, hey, sometimes it's on Friday and sometimes it's on a Monday night, or sometimes it's a marathon stream on a Sunday or something like that. But I feel like what hamstrung us a little bit when we were doing it for like the years, like we always had it on Friday and we always did a thing. And I feel like I would do it more if it was just kind of like, oh, hey, I'm just going to jump on and do a stream real quick. So I'm going to try to do more of that.
More of the casual streaming, jumping in, and I'll probably do the same with some of the workbenches and other things. Have themes, but we're going to do it on a little bit more of a fun schedule. So.
Yeah.
Hey, this has been an awesome retro show. We had a lot of good insights. It's been an hour and 50 minutes of us being able to give our quips as we move forward. So thanks for jumping in, and enjoy the rest of your trip. Safe travels back. And to everyone else, have a good New Year. Happy New Year from Double Drop Down, the Hangout with Adam and Ryan.
Yeah. We'll see you all in 2024.
All right. We'll see you guys.
Bye.
Yeah, so see ya. And that was awesome. Yeah, hey, you have a good one, Talon, and thanks for jumping in. We haven't seen you too much, but we want to play that game. It's been pretty awesome that we've been getting it all pulled together. I'm actually having the Innovation Lab printed a copy so we can try that out. We'd love to get your opinion on it, just like seeing some of the pieces of it as we've gone along and see if you could play it and if you enjoy it. Really fun stuff that we did when we started playing with that. So and then this next year we're trying to look at what we're going to do as our next project, and so we're doing a lot more with probably like ChatGPT connected into some sort of Raspberry Pi, doing something on some physical object. So it should be good times. Any case, you guys have a good night. Thanks for hanging out with us all, and we will see you next time and next year. Maybe during a little countdown on the new year. So check it out on Double Drop Down. Peace out.